What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 176 of the Clever and Original Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kayley Misialek. Alongside me, the man with a plan, Jayden Reinhart.
Yeah, what's going on? My car is outside. I have an indoor garage and it's not working, and it makes me very sad because it's snowy and cold.
North Dakota.
In North Dakota, it is cold.
We just had a blizzard this past week.
Yeah, and my car, it's had a lot of improvements done, and I haven't had any issues since, but my car has had a bad history of not starting when it gets really cold.
Yeah.
So I'm a little freaked out that I'm like, well, no, I've called an Uber. I mean, land of conveniences, so I'll probably be fine, but...
Do you have a Camaro, was it a 90s Camaro?
2000.
2000.
Yeah. Right on the millennium.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a rear-wheel drive, which sucks, and it's a car, which sucks.
It sucks on ice.
Yeah, not fun on ice, not fun in deep snow, but they keep the streets clean. That's the thing with North Dakota, right? It gets real bad, but not nearly as bad as like the preparation versus winter in other places. Like, we're so prepared here. Mm-hmm. We got the latest big vehicles to clear out the streets in 5 seconds flat and shit like that. So
yeah.
And right there is JJ Larson.
Yeah, JJ not here.
Yeah, he's not here.
Gone to Colorado for some reason.
Yeah.
Who needs him though? Right?
Yeah, we don't need him.
We don't need Nirvana, dude.
Yeah.
His Nirvana shirt.
Yeah. What does he do? Talk? Psh, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we got this.
Yeah.
We can hold down the fort. I mean, heck.
That's what America's all about.
Yeah, I got the list of news here, and I do that anyway.
Yeah.
So clearly, we do not need him.
Yeah.
Although I think I should just say we'll accept you back, JJ, if you listen to this. I suppose, but just so you know, we do not need you.
Yeah.
All right.
Now that
we've encouraged ourselves, made us feel good, that we can do this. Let's get on with this. So if you haven't listened to us before, we are the Clever and Original Podcast. We talk about comic book movie type stuff, video game type stuff, particularly in that order. So let's get on with some comic book movie type stuff in the world of news. Kevin Feige had recently been on Variety's Playback podcast, has said that X-Men and the Fantastic Four properties could begin development in the early part of next year of 2019. When asked if he was working on the Fox-owned characters, he said no, but they could be looking to it in the first 6 months of 2019. So thoughts on this news? It sounds like they haven't actually begun doing anything with those characters. I know we've talked a lot about it. The Fox-Disney merger is happening. But around January 1st, I think it's supposed to be done. So I guess thoughts on the whole not even starting developing yet until they officially have them.
I mean, it makes sense. Even with everything seemingly going as smoothly as it is, you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it would make sense that as a business they would wait until they officially own them.
Yeah.
To start new development, because I would imagine it costs a lot of money to even start development. So you don't want to start development and then all of a sudden it's oh, just kidding, and then
we can't actually do it.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's so I found this new YouTube channel called Defunctland. Mm-hmm. And there was this episode a few weeks ago. I was in the 80s, Disney was going to buy the Jim Henson company or whatever with the Muppets and everything. And then we're going to do a big promotion at Disneyland where they would create Muppet Land, put, makeshift Muppet sign over Disney, and it would be called Muppet Land. Get rid of all the Disney characters for the whole year. Anyway, you should look it up. It's a really good video. Anyway, do this big promotion with the Muppets. Mm-hmm. And then, Jim Henson, spoiler alert, dies. No, it's not funny that
it's
he
not
does,
funny,
but
no,
like spoiler
but
alert.
spoiler alert is
it's
the funny part.
right,
Yeah. That's what the joke is, just
yeah.
so we're clear.
Yeah, not laughing at somebody's death.
No, that was very sad.
Anyway, and the cell went through, flopped, I guess I should say, and did not go through. And so this big plan for the Muppet Land didn't actually come to fruition. And so I guess it would be similar to that, as like theoretically, if this fell through, which it doesn't look like it's gonna do, but there are some snags that might be in the way.
Yeah.
Sorry, like you don't want to go all in on something. I mean, obviously they wouldn't, start building everything, but I could see them like sketching story ideas or how they're going to fit into the MCU at least. I would think. It seems like they kind of did that with Spider-Man, because there were reports that he was going to be in Civil War before, and then they had a script for both with Spider-Man and without Spider-Man, depending on whether or not the deal went through.
Yeah.
And then the deal went through, and then they got Spider-Man and this Captain America Civil War. So I'm surprised they aren't doing something like that, but I guess I can see the whole, they don't want to put everything in there. And then, like, let's say it doesn't go through, and then they don't have, like, a movie planned for, like, focus on other movies that need to come out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, they got a lot on their plate. It's definitely, like, a line of work that there's a lot of contracts, and, I could see them maybe working on anything that wouldn't require, like, any kind of contractual obligation, like signing on to, for whatever. Like, if it's just, like, thought board, like, people throwing ideas at stuff, maybe. But even that, like, you got to pay the people to show up. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely a weird move, like, thinking back on it, like, planning 2 scripts like that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he did fit in, like, fine. Like, it kind of felt like he was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So, like, imagining there was an alternate version where he wasn't included at all.
Yeah, like, well, like, I guess part of it is right that, like, I guess Spider-Man isn't in it all that much.
Yeah.
He's got, like, the one scene where, like, Tony comes and get him in his apartment with Aunt May, and then he brings him to Germany. I'm not exactly where in Germany, though, but I remember the airport scene is in Germany. Then that happens, and that's basically it for Spider-Man.
Yeah. I suppose, yeah, it's not... Yeah, I mean, they could have just reshot a scene where, like, Tony Stark says a couple of lines to the driver to show he's driving there. And then the Spider-Man never is...
Right, yeah. So, like, I mean, I guess it wasn't too much. It's not an entire movie, but, like, the whole... Spider-Man becoming part of the MCU happened fairly quickly, so I mean, I guess that's not quite the same, especially with like a team dynamic. Like both X-Men and Fantastic Four are like teams. There are multiple. Like Spider-Man's one person, right? Fantastic Four is 4 people. The X-Men is a whole bunch of people. Like, I mean, I guess maybe you could do like Wolverine as like the one person, but like. Other than that, like, these are, a big group of people. Like, you can't just, like, it's a lot harder to just, like, insert them into, like, this whole MCU thing.
Yeah, like, cameo versus the entire movie.
Also, they're pretty big characters, so you don't really want, I mean, I guess they did it with Spider-Man, but, like, you don't really want to, like, put them in as a side character into, like, their own, they need, like, a proper, like, sort of... thing.
Yeah, they need to like fit in. I don't know. I mean, they did a good job with Spider-Man, but yeah, I mean, when it boils down to it, it's just.
I think the thing
there's a lot that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that you could be said the same thing about Fantastic Four and X-Men is that Spider-Man, is so well known that you don't really need to go into the backstory of everything.
Yeah, he's had like. So many movies and stuff.
But I'm starting to think that maybe Fantastic Four and even the X-Men, it's been so long since we've seen an origin story for those people. Like the last X-Men thing, I mean, I guess X-Men First Class kind of counts. That was in 2011, I want to say.
I think so.
2011 or 2012. Before that, it was 2000. Like with Fantastic Four. Just completely forget 2015 Fantastic Four. So 2004 was was the last time we got a decent, I guess, Fantastic Four movie. And so you don't want the thing is Spider-Man is a lot more popular than both of those people, a lot more ingrained in everyone's thing. Also, it had more recent entries in its franchise that, I guess you can just go okay, this is Spider-Man. Everyone knows who Spider-Man is. I mean, sure, a lot of people know who the X-Men are and whatever, but not as many people know about them, and especially know a good version of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a Fox property for a while, and as far as the fight between Marvel and Fox, there's a clear winner. And it's been outshining them for a very long time now.
So yeah, I think you would need to I don't know, do more of a better introduction of the characters into the MCU.
For sure, it's a lot more make or break than just having Spider-Man in a movie.
Everyone knows who Spider-Man is.
Yeah, it's easy.
I guess somewhat spoiler alert, but we just saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and it's I'm Spider-Man, you know the rest. It's everyone knows who Spider-Man is.
Yeah, we've seen the movies, the Peter Parker movies. We've seen read comics probably. Especially with the X-Men,
because there's so many different mutants and everything. You don't know. You don't know the story that well.
Yeah.
If you do know it. A lot of people are just super powered person, but they don't actually know the same. And same with Fantastic Four. If the 2015 was the first version, you don't know the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So they're definitely gonna have to develop those characters. But I'm kind of surprised that they haven't at least thought about it. With this whole thing, but it sounds like they would start doing it soon, right away, I guess, once they got the property. So I mean, I guess we could expect to see one in if 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming once everything's official, they'll probably start on it pretty immediately. So I'm sure they have ideas, even if they haven't set them in a board meeting yet. So. It won't take them that long to figure out a place for them. It'll take them a while to kind of fit them in the schedule because they got quite a schedule made up of things they're already working on and doing. So
yeah,
let's fit them into that. But
a lot of things. All right, so I think that does it for that. I think we're good on that topic. Yeah. Moving on to the next bit of news, sticking in the MCU. Rumor had it back a while ago that Marvel was developing a Captain Britain and Black Knight film that was supposed to be directed by Guy Ritchie. That was supposed to begin production this fall. However, that is not entirely true. We have no confirmed thing saying that is actually happening. However, there's a rumor going around now. So granted, it's a rumor that other thing with the Black Knight and Captain Britain was appeared to be not true, at least for the most part. But it seems that there's a rumor going around that Black Knight will be connected to the quantum realm, which has made a big impact and a big plot point in Antman and the Wasp, which had come out this previous year. So I guess thoughts on this quantum realm having more of a staying power, I guess, in the MCU and connecting to Black Knight of all people. And do you actually think that Black Knight and Captain Britain are actually going to show up as a movie in the MCU?
I mean, that'd be wild, right? I mean, granted, as far as the quantum realm is concerned, we know of it. It's been a plot point in the Ant-Man movies so far, but we haven't actually had a movie based on it. Yeah, so we don't know all the rules of it, I guess, of the quantum realm. So they could literally be anything. It could maybe the Black Knight's there. It's possible. I guess I wouldn't be super surprised. I mean, it'd still be weird, right? To like see Black Knight. Just combine Ant-Man and Black Knight. It would be weird to see.
Oh my gosh.
It would be weird to see Black Knight in the quantum realm in an Ant-Man film, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Marvel's all about like taking new characters and using them.
Yeah,
as stuff.
I mean, I guess it's not entirely out of their realm. Like
Mhm.
Guardians of the Galaxy is completely like that was totally not a thing like back when they made it.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until, you know, the movie came out that people like know, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy are now a big Marvel property, and like they were like nothing
Yeah.
before then. Like they were like a, you know, a niche comic book one-off in 2008.
Mhm.
You know, and then nothing had really come of it until Marvel was just like, we're making that into a film.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's because like you think like, oh, Black Knight, Quantum Realm, that's too weird. But then you think of like the superheroes with their superpowers that we all already know of, the characters that Marvel has picked up and made famous. Like it's not as weird as all that, really. Yeah, Ant-Man.
I mean, Ant-Man's a big character in the comics already, but like
no one
to
really
like
knew him.
average, you know, movie watchers, that just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know.
And now it's just super normal. Like, yeah, Ant-Man, of course.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
everyone knows Ant-Man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, I think it would be cool. I don't think I'd be too terribly surprised at this point at anything Marvel threw at us. Again, it is just a rumor, of course, but I wouldn't be disappointed at all.
Yeah. No, I
It'd
mean,
be cool to see where they took that.
yeah, it's interesting. And I'm interested to see all the new things that come out because, like, as a Marvel fan, like someone who reads the comics and you've seen like a bunch of the cartoons and everything growing up, it's like, you know, they've got a lot of the like main superheroes. There's some more niche ones like Guardians is like really out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess like Falcon
Yeah, it's
is out there. Like I guess you could
Even
say
Black
Ant-Man.
Widow.
Doctor Strange is more out there like
Yeah.
for major audiences, but these are still like, you know, like if you have paid attention to like Avengers and stuff and are into all that, you know these characters like Captain Britain and like Black Knight are even more out like you probably not your average comic book reader, I don't think really knows that much about, you know, Black Knight or Captain Britain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even though they have this history and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, when you think about it too, like with a lot of those characters that are out there, some of them were introduced through more known characters.
mm-hmm.
Like even like when you're back looking at Black Widow, it was Bruce Banner, right? It was kind of they were not like a team, but used to sort of better introduce Black Widow to the Marvel universe, and now she's more of a main character.
Well, I mean, she was an Iron Man, right?
Iron
Yeah,
Man, right,
Iron Man
right,
2.
yeah, that's what it was. But yeah,
yeah.
because
No, yeah, I
knowing
get
that,
that.
knowing how Marvel likes to do that, that makes this even more possible. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like Black Knight, no one knows Black Knight, everyone knows Ant-Man, so we'll just
right.
use
yeah.
Ant-Man to kind of introduce him. Ant-Man's also
Well, yeah.
pretty charismatic as far
Mhm.
as superheroes go.
Oh yeah, and like I guess like you said, like introducing them in other films, like Scarlet Witch and the Vision.
Yeah,
You know, big ones. Obviously, they did Quicksilver, but he's
Right.
kind of dead.
yeah, he's
So,
he's gone.
But yeah, I mean, they've done it before. You know, I
Mhm.
mean, so like, not that like outrageous to think that they would.
And it's a good way to do it too, like because if you know the character you want them to be, you can match them up with a character they'd play well with,
Mm-hmm.
and then they kind of
Right.
introduce each other.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of hoping that we get these more, I guess, like, you know, buddy cop films like Thor
Mhm.
Ragnarok was. You know, there's Thor and the Hulk.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they've been doing it more and more now, like Ant-Man and the Wasp. You know, Captain America has had like the Falcon for the past 2 films.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Civil War was kind of an Avengers film, but you know, I digress and everything. And you know, Spider-Man even had Iron Man in it for a little bit, even though it was still mainly Spider-Man.
Mm.
Like just having these, I don't know, duo movies that are like, two superheroes going together,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool. And, Black Knight and Captain Britain would also do that. And so, like, you get, one character doesn't have to, like, hold the entire film.
Mm-hmm.
You can spread it out over two different characters and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really cool. But yeah, interesting thought. Although this is a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, for sure.
There's still no official confirmation on a Captain Britain and Black Knight film, but it would be interesting to see if Marvel would have pulled the trigger on that.
Yeah.
All right, so that does it for comic book movie type stuff this week. I guess past 2 weeks because we were gone for Christmas last week. Let's move on to some video game type stuff. The next generation of Xboxes. And that's right, Xboxes. There are 2 of them for the next generation of consoles. There's going to be PS5.
Of course.
And, there's going to be the Xbox that's after Xbox One. So Xbox 2. Xbox, well, it's going to be the 4th Xbox.
Yeah, whatever they give it. Probably be Xbox A now.
So there's 2 code names for it, Anaconda and Lockhart, reported by Windows Central. They're these are 2 different Xbox consoles, and they're going to be similar to like the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X, in that one is going to be a more affordable baseline model. And then there's going to be one more like beef up version that has more power. It's going to cost more. But if you're willing to spend more money, it's going to be a better version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to like Xbox S. One S is like, regular Xbox One, and then, Xbox One X is like, a lot more powerful and everything.
Yeah.
The rumor has it that, Lockhart, which is the more baseline one, is going to be comparable to the power of Xbox One X, and then Anaconda, which would be the more powerful one, would be even more powerful than that.
Damn.
And so in addition to this, rumors are also saying that Microsoft is quote, exploring technology to dramatically reduce loading times, end quote, possibly a faster SSD hard drive. Thoughts on these new consoles, and it says here that they will be coming out in 2020.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not too strange, I guess, for them to be. I mean, it is a little weird that they're coming out at the same time like that, but I mean, you think about it, we're kind of in the middle of technology with a few different things, 4K being one of the more notable ones. Like, some people have it, some people don't. It's not weird to see people with it. Like, it is kind of affordable, but it's still more expensive.
Sorry to interrupt.
But
like the Xbox One X, which is like sounds what this like more baseline is gonna be, that does 4K. So
yeah.
But sorry, continue.
Well, right, but like with everything being in the middle like that, I mean, Nintendo did it too, right? Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo 2DS.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox has done it before too with Xbox 360. They had actually, I think, 3. They had an arcade version, which was the one, except it didn't have a hard drive. It came with a memory card.
Oh, yeah, remember that. Yeah, holy cow.
And there was, I think there was I don't remember what the regular one was called, but it was just an Xbox 360. Was it Pro? It might have been Pro.
I think so. It was
and
arcade,
it was like it had an 8 hard drive, and then there was the Elite, which was like, the first 2 were white, this one was black, and it had a bigger hard drive and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's not really more power, but it is like kind of, I don't know, I guess it kind of is more hard drive space, but not really like more power like this is saying. But they have done different versions of the same console at the same time with different prices points.
Yeah, and I mean, there's definitely two different kinds of markets for consoles too that, you know, Microsoft is trying to please both. You got the people who just want like a cheap console for their kids, and you got the people who are gamers and that's like their hobby and they need like the best hardware. So I guess this just covers both of that. So people won't be complaining about any kind of high price point that they can't meet, or not enough power or whatever.
Right.
You get best of both worlds, I guess. I guess the only weird thing is that they're releasing it at the same time, which we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Because generally it's like the big one with all the hardware and stuff with the high price point, and then later on it's like, oh, this is the cheaper version. Like several months down the road or whatever. Yeah.
Like, I mean, usually the baseline is like the cheaper version is like, you know, just a reskin version of the original. Like the S is just a slimmer version of the original. I guess it is a little different. It has some 4K features, but yeah, I mean, like this was something really big with like, you know, back in 2013 when the Xbox One was like announced and launched, was like the price point was $500, and that really killed the Xbox and Microsoft for like the entire console generation. You know, PlayStation 4 was, you know, more powerful, only like, I mean, all, you know, slightly, but it was still more powerful, and it was $100 cheaper at launch. And so that was big. And, you know, I could definitely see, you know, they're like, you know, we want this power, you know, we want to have the most powerful console on the market, but at the same time, if we're too expensive, you know, the masses aren't going to buy it, right?
They won't be able to afford it.
Yeah, like not everyone can pay like that was the big thing with PlayStation 3 and the console generation before this current one, where they came out, I think it was like $600 as the starting price point for a PS3, and Xbox 360 was going at like $300, and it was just like major, like even though the PS3 was more powerful and everything, like that's a major difference. Like, and most people don't really care, right? I mean, you know, people do care, but like not enough to spend that much more money on a game console. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are some people who will, and I think Xbox is like going for that. And by having two separate models, they're trying to get the best of both worlds, right? Yeah, exactly. They get the people who are like, you know, I want the best console no matter what, you know, the price is. You know, I want the best version. The
doctors and lawyers out there.
Whatever, you know, whatever, you know, I want the best. And then you also, you know, bring in a cheaper price point and be like, let's say $300 is what the starting price point will be. Then you can be like, oh, see, we have the cheap console. I don't know what PS5 is going to cost. I would assume around $400. Maybe this new Xbox, the baseline one, will also cost $400. You know, I'm just guessing right now, but even if it was the same, even if it was $400 and the PS4 5 is $400, like you can say, hey, we're still the cheapest on the market, you know, get an Xbox, you know, and then you can promote that to like mass people, like the people who get like, you know, FIFA and everything every year and don't really care, and the people who use it as like an entertainment system, you know, where they watch Netflix or whatever, and then also play games on it, because I don't see why you would get that nowadays. Yeah, because like you can just, your TVs come with it. You know? So like TVs. play some games very like gaming, or you know, your kid wants to play on it, and, you know, you get the cheaper version, and then you can target the core gamers who, you know, especially back in 2013 felt like they were being, you know, like they were being ignored by like TV. Now you can target them as well with this more powerful, more dedicated gaming console. I mean, sure, it's more expensive, but they're more willing to spend that money versus like the person who watches like NFL every week, who's just like, oh, you know, I play video games, like I play Madden, you know. And so you can try and get the best of both worlds with that.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's definitely. I mean, that's certainly what they're going for here. I think it does a fine job at it. It's not. There's no like bad thing about it that I can think of, anyways. That like would be really awful for them like to do what they're doing. It seems just fine. It was a good idea. It'll probably work out for them. Yeah, I don't know.
Although it should be interesting. So it sounds like it's coming out in 2020. PlayStation 5, we don't know when it's coming out yet. It sounds like 2019 or 2020 are the years for these next two consoles. But if we're going by this report, the next Xbox will come out in 2020. Although it should be interesting what if they will release during the same year or not. Xbox 360 was released a year before the PS3, but PS4 and Xbox One were released in the same year, actually a week apart. So it should be interesting to see if the releases line up again and if they're going to be more head-to-head like they were in 2013 and everything. And Nintendo's doing its own thing. Like,
yeah, a year or two after it's hey,
like they came out the Switch with whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll see with that. Should be interesting. Next, I guess we'll see in about a year or so. What's coming out with this next console generation, the PS5, and now Xbox Anaconda and Lockhart. I guess we'll get more information in the coming year, and we'll see how that turns out.
It'll be cool, yeah.
Moving on, Halo Infinite. There's some news regarding that. 343's Industries Bonnie Ross said that in 2017, DICE said that all future Halo FPS games will have split-screen modes, but now it's officially confirmed for Halo Infinite on a Reddit blog post that they did. They basically said that they're going back to this old Halo style. They're going to have player split screen. They're going to have the Black Hunter suit, which they kind of got rid of with like Halo 4 and Halo 5. They had mentioned that that's what they're like looking for in the art style. They also said that the customization will be more like Halo Reach, which in my opinion is the best version, where you got credits for like leveling up, and then you get to spend those credits on certain armor pieces. And also you could customize like individual like arm pieces, like shoulder pieces, chest pieces, where like with Halo 5 and Halo 4 it was more like you have one body that has arms and everything, and then you've got legs, and then you've got a helmet, and that's it. And this you got more like more customization for individual parts. And I don't know, it sounds like it's going to be more in the art style of like the previous Halo games, which I really like. And and then also they said they are not doing a battle royale mode. I think we've already talked about this, but if that wasn't clear to begin with, this is what they're doing. So yeah, I guess what are your thoughts on these new updates to what's going to be coming out in Halo Infinite?
Well, I for one am very bummed that we're not getting a Halo Battle Royale. I think my heart's really broken up about that.
Yeah, I can tell by the yes.
Yeah. No, but I think the customization is definitely going to be a breath of fresh air, because I've been getting kind of tired of all these games having like skins that you bought basically, with whether it be like in-game or not. I mean, real life currency, like you'd spend to buy in-game currency to buy these skins. They meant less, but when you get these credits by leveling up, and then you spend those credits on what you want, it gives you the customization, and then everyone else can see like, oh, they got this cool helmet because they saved up for it. There's so many credits,
Yeah, and they've played the game for so long.
It's like an experience thing. Like, whoa, that helmet's awesome. They played this game for a long time. They're really good at the game. Instead of just like, oh, they spent $50. You know, I think bringing that back along with like more customization, because I did really like the Halo Reach customization. There's a lot to be said about Halo Reach. It's kind of forgotten a lot of times,
right?
as far as Halo goes, but it was a good one.
Yeah, I like. Halo Reach was awesome. You know, I love the idea of going to this customization, because like I was really disappointed in Halo 4 and Halo 5 because it feels like everyone's looks the same. You know. I mean, you know, Spartans look worse, in my opinion, based on the art style. And then not only that, but, like, also, you know, you couldn't really customize. Like, you know, you could, like I said, you could choose the body, but it had, you know, the arms and everything. You could choose the legs and you could choose the helmet. And that was basically it. I'm sure there's a little bit more. Obviously, you can choose the color and everything. But, like that was really bad. Like, in Halo Reach, you know, like I said, shoulders, you know, forearms, chest, helmet, and then like I think they had legs, and and so like that was really cool, you know, and I think visor also. Yeah,
I remember visor
was a thing, and so like I mean I think it's still a thing in Halo 5 for visor, but you know, not that. But yeah, like I mean it was really cool. And I really hope they bring the credits thing back, like where, you know, you level up, get credits, and then you spend those credits. And I really hope it's not, you know, spend money to get them and everything.
Yeah.
That's not... I mean,
it's definitely a
sure
bummer.
people will pay for it, but, like, I don't know. I don't really like it. I think it's just, like, it ruins some of the appeal of it. Because it's just like, you know, like I just spent money to get that versus like you said, like, you know, this person like did something to get this. Yeah. Like in Halo 3, right? You had the Vidmaster stuff, and then that's how you got the flaming helmet.
Hayabusa.
Yeah. And then like and you know that's like really cool. That's like you put effort into this game and got that. You know, that's cool. Yeah. You know, and it's like that is lost when, you know, everyone can just buy whatever they want. And sure, you know, it's just like looks, but like, you know, I don't know.
Sorry.
I just think it's like, you know, a neat thing to show off, like what you've done, I guess, even though, you know, it is a game, you know, and like who cares, but like, you know, it's just a neat thing that, you know, there's something that people can instantly see about, you know, my in-game character and know something about, you know, my accomplishments or whatever, you know, like getting a certain piece of armor for beating the game on Legendary alone, or, you know, whatever, something like that. It's just like, I think that's really cool. And, you know, that's kind of lost. And like a lot of these things, like in the past, you know, that those were the type of things that would happen, and you know, someone did these things, and now it's like you see that, you know, oh, this person just bought this skin, and the only way to see other people's accomplishments is to go into like their profile and look at things, which no one really does. And it's just a nice thing to be like, hey, look at what I've done, or like just like, oh wow, that's cool, that person actually, you know, did this thing, like accomplished, like beat Legendary alone, or got this like really hard achievement or whatever, or, you know, played so long, or is really good at the game.
I don't know what this cough is, sorry.
So yeah, I don't know, I hope that's the thing that comes around.
Yeah, and even if like Jesus.
You need water?
No, I'm good. Even if like both worlds exist in the game, like if you have the people who like certain things you can buy with money and certain things you have to accomplish to get, I'd be more okay with that as long as they're separate. I think my worst fear would be is if there was something they had to do a lot for, but you could just buy it.
Right.
Like that would be a bummer, because then even if you accomplish it, people would see it and be like, oh, they bought it. You know, that kind of like shits all over your accomplishments. But if you're gonna have like, you know, oh, you can buy this, this, or this, but to get this, this, and this, the really cool looking ones, you have to like do this thing, you know? Because that's what it's all about. Like back when accomplishments were like, oh, you did this really difficult thing that not everyone can do, and it's hard, and it was awesome, and good job. Now it's just like, oh, you passed the cutscene, you know? Mm-hmm. So to kind of go back to the difficult achievements for cool looking stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely the way to do it. Sorry for the I don't know where that cough came from. I think it's gone. Let's hope so.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like they're going back more into the stuff. At least that's what they're saying, like the more classic Halo stuff, which, you know, I'm glad that they're doing. I mean, we'll see how it actually plays out once the game comes out.
Yeah, for sure.
But, like, I like the 4-player split screen. I like the idea of this Reach stuff. You know, I like the idea of going back to this older art style of the game. But, I mean, we'll actually see how it turns out. Hopefully it is, you know, like we think it will be based on what they've said. But, you know, obviously things can change. You know, maybe they could be lying to us. You know, things change during development. You know, I guess, like, you know, some things, you know, they say are going to be there aren't actually there. I remember that with Destiny. Yep. Was a big thing when I first, like, found out the game was first announced. You know, it was a big story thing. And then it turned out to not be. But that's a digression. But I just hope that, you know, if this is what they say it is, and, you know, it turns out to be a good Halo game, because I really like Halo, and I wish it would go back to this, not go back per se, I guess, but like get back to like the style and like feel of the original games, even if it's new, you know, and everything's. You know, there's different things, obviously, but just, like, feels like Halo. Like, those other Halo 4 and Halo 5 didn't feel much like Halo. So I'm hoping it gets back to that feeling.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway.
Fuck. All right, I'm good. Hopefully,
all right,
maybe,
so I think that does it for the news this week. And not for Jay's coughing.
Apparently not. Fuck. I should have grabbed. I didn't grab water. I was like, oh, I'll be fine. Whatever. I don't need water.
But getting into the juice, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Let's just get into spoilers. So, spoiler alert for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Come back to this part in the video, or in this part of the podcast, the audio, if you're listening. And we'll talk about our thoughts on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I mean, it's definitely a difficult movie to not spoil. So even if you haven't seen it and you want a spoiler-free version, you're going to have a tough time finding one because there's spoilers like right off the bat.
Yeah. So
go watch it.
Spoilers starting now.
Boom.
All right.
Stop listening. All right. No, just keep listening, actually. Just kidding.
Yeah, if you've seen it or don't care about spoilers, keep listening.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's a thing, starring Miles Morales. The movie starts out with, you know, him going to this new school and everything, and seems to have this affinity for his uncle, Aaron Davis, who turns out to be the Prowler. You know, multiverse things happen. Comes into with Peter Parker, who has died in the movie. Teaches him. You know, meets a bunch of other Spider people. Spider-Man Noir, who's played by Nick Cage. Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen. Then you've got Peter, Spider-Pig, and
Penny Parker?
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly Spider.
Yeah,
it's Penny Parker, but I'm not exactly sure what Spider person that is. Anyway.
I think it wasn't her Spider just like her friend?
Yeah.
In the mech
it was
or whatever.
It was in a mech.
She wasn't actually bitten.
Yeah, so, really cool. Really good film. You know, I like the reoccurring thing where it was like, I'm Spider-Man, you know. It started out with Peter Parker, and it's like, I'm Spider-Man, you know.
Spider-Man.
You know the rest, everything, and then, you know, they go through the origin story, and then they, you know, slap a comic book cover with the character on there. That's cool. They did it twice for Peter Parker, one for the one in Miles' universe, and once for the older Peter Parker from the other universe. who's had a falling out with Mary Jane and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then, they do it with each of the individual Spider people, Gwen Stacy, Then they do the 3 at once, Spider-Man Noir, Peter Parker, and Penny Parker.
Yeah.
And then, I love at the end, through this whole time, it's like they're fighting these different versions of, villains, like Dr. Octavius. I don't remember her name. It's like Lillian or something.
That's sort of the V.
I don't remember exactly.
I don't know. I can't remember.
But who's Dr. Octopus, Doc Ock?
Mm-hmm.
You've got, Green Goblin, who's like this big actual goblin.
That was cool.
And Prowler and everything, and they're fighting these people trying to get this, portal closed. Who Wilson Fisk is like trying to bring back his family.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I like how, they're like, you have to figure out who you are as Spider-Man to Miles, and like once he figures that out, it's like it slams the comic book cover on with Miles. That's his origin story and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Basically they did all these short origin stories, and then you realize like, oh, this is like Miles Morales' origin story.
Yeah.
So I like that thing. Obviously they win and everything, they get a send back. But yeah, I think the movie was really good.
I thought the choice of Wilson Fisk being the main bad guy was a really good choice. He is I think he's my new favorite bad guy. Obviously for a while it's probably the Joker. That's like everyone's favorite bad guy, I think. Wilson Fisk is way cool because you feel bad for him. You like he has all these like things that go in his life. Basically, he gets dealt a bad hand of cards essentially, and that's what happens to the Joker too. Like the Joker, it's literally a freak accident. Like his wife with their son dies like from a random electrical freak accident, and it's the same thing with Wilson Fisk. There's all these freak accidents that happen and like forms these characters, and you almost feel bad for him, but they make a real good bad guy. I think it was definitely a good choice.
Yeah, I mean, and like we've seen this before, like in Daredevil, right? But like, a great thing about Wilson Fisk, right, is that, he's been dealt a bad hand, but like so have the heroes like Daredevil, right? And like Spider-Man, it's like, they've all been dealt a bad hand. It's just what do you do with that? That, decides like whether, you're a hero or a villain, it's just like, it's how you deal with that adversity that you face, and in the film, there's this thing where it's like Spider-Man always gets back up, and the
very first Peter Parker that you see doesn't.
Right. Well, I mean, he does until he dies.
Yeah, right.
And then they gets the other one, but anyway, but yeah, I mean, they had a nice Stan Lee quote at the end of the film. That was like, anyone who does something like good, like maybe when it's like inconvenient or whatever, is a true hero and everything. Like that's really good. Also, speaking of which, the Stan Lee cameo, I started tearing up a bit because it was like, I don't know, I felt more like, because in the film, Peter Parker dies, Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man we see. And it's like, I'm going to miss him. Like, I always liked him and everything. And it's just like, I don't know, to me it felt like, what you would say about Stan Lee, because obviously this was made before, he passed away and everything. Right. And so it just like felt even more so because he's talking about the death of, a character. And, he died. And so, like, that got to me a bit. So I, like, started to get teary-eyed. But, yeah, I mean, that was really cool. And, like, it's interesting that it's just, like, in the film Prowler, the evil guy Prowler is Miles' uncle Aaron. And, he dies and everything. And, it's like, the spider people are like, we're like the only ones we're probably the only people who do understand like what you're going through.
Uncle Benjamin.
Yeah, I like the Uncle Benjamin bit about Spider-Man Noir, and
that's pretty good.
You know, and
yeah, I mean that was like definitely the thing about this though that made me like it so much. It wasn't just like an action movie. You know, you got like Die Hard and whatever. There's good action in it, real good animation styles and all that.
Oh yes, I love the animation style.
But it was also a good message.
Yeah.
It was both. It was a real good message. It was a real good animation. It was real good action. There were enough twists in there where I didn't know what was going to happen next. Mm-hmm. Instead of like thinking ahead, like, oh, maybe this is what's going to happen. I was very much along for the ride.
Yeah.
So this was a really good.
Yeah, I want to talk about the animation. I've never seen anything like this before.
The crossover style.
Yeah, like it was really cool. Like it was 3D, you know, animation, which I mean we've all seen since Pixar started doing it. But
right.
That's
my phone.
Breath of the Wild. It also like had this like really good overlay where it felt like a comic book like art style. Mm-hmm. You know, the filling in of the colors and the coloring was like felt like a comic book style. You know, they had what I thought was really cool was the bubble, like the thought bubbles and word bubbles and like next day bubbles, I guess, or you know, things that are like, you know, you see in comic books that are only really in comics. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. Because like, you know, they would say no or whatever when he's falling or whatever, and you would see it on the screen and everything, and you know, and like they really showed it with because you know they would phase in and out because they were in the wrong universe, right? Mm-hmm. And you know they were gonna die if they stayed in that universe too long. Mm-hmm. And that really showed this art style like really well, how different it is and everything. And I just thought that was really cool and something like we've never seen before, and it should definitely win awards for animation. I think.
That I cannot imagine how difficult that animation must have been.
Yeah,
like you had to have had like a different team on each art style. Really, because I mean, I feel like animators, at least of who I like follow and watch or whatever, have like their own particular style. So I can't imagine it'd be easy to do different styles, like as one person.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
imagine
they
like
had
team.
You know, they had a team, obviously.
Yeah, right. So. But I'm imagining like there'd be like the noir team and the spider pork or whatever, spider pig. Yeah. Like different teams doing each art style, but
I think it's Spider Ham.
Spider Ham,
I think is the name.
I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, but Peter Parker. He was hilarious. I think it's was it John Mulvaney? Mm-hmm. I think yeah. Anyway, he was really funny, and it was like, you know, like this stereotypical like old, like classic golden age cartoon character. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, he had the fucking what is it, the weight, the anchor.
Oh yeah.
It just drops and everything, and at the end was like, here, take this hammer. Pulls out, you know, this wacky like big hammer out of nowhere, and it's like, it'll fit in your pocket. And then, you know, had to do that's all, folks.
Do we have the rights to that?
Yeah. Can he actually say that?
And then he disappears into his version of reality.
That was pretty good.
It definitely, I was getting like Roger Rabbit vibes from him being there. It was the same, I mean, there wasn't any live action, obviously. Mm-hmm. But it was the same kind of like wacky animation over like something else. Mm-hmm. You know, and it worked really well.
Yeah,
I think it definitely worked well.
Yeah, Spider Ham was pretty hilarious. Mm-hmm. Also, it was like really interesting seeing like the Aunt May in this film.
Yeah, it was more like what's Batman's servant called? What's his name? His butler.
Shoot, I can't think of it.
I can't remember either. Whatever. It was she was kind of like him though.
Yeah,
in a way.
I mean, it was interesting because like they're going to Aunt May's place, right? Mm-hmm. And like Peter is like it's obviously a different Peter Parker and different Aunt May. And he shows up and just like, I know this is gonna be weird, but it's like, Aunt May is like, you're Peter and everything. You're older and fatter too.
Yeah. Everyone's been saying that.
Yeah. But it was like really interesting to see because like I was kind of surprised that Aunt May, well, one knew Peter was Spider-Man, and I guess helped him out a lot by having this shed that has all of the spider suits and gadgets and everything.
Yeah.
And was like really like, you got to do this. You need to kick ass sort of thing. And it was also interesting that all of them like went there and everything.
Yeah, they all had the same idea. Like, find Aunt May. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I like the Scorpion in this movie too.
Yeah, he looked cool.
Because I remember in the old video games I played, he was a dude trapped in a suit.
Right.
I think is what it was. And in this one, it's almost like he's a cyborg.
Right.
Like he actually splits off into 4 legs at one point, which was really sweet.
Yeah, these are different versions of like classic Spider-Man villains. Obviously, Green Goblin was like an actual giant goblin,
which is crazy.
Yeah, and so like, Doc Ock is a woman in this. I'm not exactly. I wish I knew her. My phone's about to die, so I can't really look it up.
I can look it up.
But like anyway, I mean, it was really cool. It's the Ultimate Universe Spider-Man with Ultimate Spider-Man is Miles Morales. So I mean, it was just really cool, like it's seeing this whole like thing. Although it is interesting that they said Peter Parker was Gwen Stacy's friend, even though like shouldn't that be like boyfriend? But I mean, it is I guess a kids thing. So,
you're right.
Like,
they didn't even kiss at the end. Like they just like shook hands.
Well, I'm talking about the Peter Parker that died in her.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting. So I guess it's cool. But anyway, really good movie. Really liked it. I really. What else is there to talk about in this film? The dad was really good. Really.
Is it Olivia?
Maybe, I think so.
I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I think that might be it. But yeah, I like the dad was really good. I really felt like, he was a dad and like actually cared about his son and everything.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That was cool too, yeah. A lot of times like with those kind of like relationships, it's something I'm not able to relate to, but I think the father-son thing is I don't know. It did work because, like, I don't know. I played The Walking Dead, and there's like a father-daughter thing going on there, and that didn't really work for me. And I don't know. It's like this parent-child relationships that a lot of forms of media do that I don't get, but this one worked really well.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like
Somehow it was good.
Like forcing them to say "I love you."
Yeah.
Like that was just like I've
seen it so many times before, but it was still hilarious when it happened in the movie.
Yeah. It was a pretty good movie. It had some funny parts. But yeah, also, I want to talk about the post-credits scene.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. So, like, they had mentioned that, I guess this guy can transport through dimensions. And it was Miguel was the name of the person. If you don't know or didn't, watch the post-credit scene and didn't know, that's Spider-Man 2099. He shows up in the Spider-Man 2099 outfit. It's Miguel. I think it's Miguel O'Hara, if I remember correctly. He's Spider-Man 2099. And anyway, and then at the end, he transports to the 1960s Spider-Man cartoon.
They're pointing at each other.
And it does the meme thing, and where they're pointing at, you're Spider-Man. Please yell Spider-Man or whatever.
Who pointed first? It's definitely Spider-Man.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny.
It's pretty great.
Also, yeah, like I guess they showed that at the beginning of the film too. So I mean, well, not that part, but the Spider-Man theme from the original cartoon.
Yeah.
And everything. And so, I don't know. Overall, it was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. A lot of good references and everything. So.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything bad to say about it. Good characters, good plot, good music. I like the music track a lot.
Good music, good action.
Good atmosphere. It was all good. I couldn't think of like one thing that like, oh, this could have been better. I guess maybe the only thing that stood out to me was Nicolas Cage sounded like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird, and it didn't seem like Spider-Man Noir had a whole lot of screen time. Like, he was in the scenes with all the other Spider-Men.
You're right.
But he never, like...
He never did anything.
He never did anything that you followed, right?
Right.
And all the other characters kind of did.
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man Noir kind of, like, he's a more mature thing, so I guess, like, in a PG movie, that's kind of weird. But, like, I mean, I guess the thing that kind of, like, stuck out in that film was that he, you know, couldn't understand a Rubik's Cube because everything is black and white, you know, to him and in his world. So, like...
It was so good.
So that was a good, you know, laugh and everything.
I mean, they did kind of show him off when they were going through a scene where he's like a detective and they show him like at a bar, like drinking or whatever.
Yeah.
But that'd be one that I want to look more into, I think.
Right.
But other than that, other than Spider-Man Noir kind of being a little out of place just because he's a rated R character in a PG-13 movie.
PG
movie. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. I don't really see a whole lot of PG movies. That's good.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, nothing else about it. It was a great movie.
Yeah.
And even that's a very small complaint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really good movie, though. I think we both like it. I think it's...
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen that many animated films, but right now I think it would deserve the Oscar for Best Animated Picture.
It was really... I think I actually recently watched The Killing Joke.
Yeah.
Which is a big animated film. I've been told to read the comic book. It's a little better. But that one's really good. I'd say this is up there.
Yeah.
It was real good.
Really good. You know, great animation, like you said, great story, great characters, great acting. Really great all around, you know. But yeah, if this, you know, I mean, a post-credits scene kind of implies a sequel almost. But, you know, obviously that doesn't necessarily mean it's true. But, like, if there is a sequel, I'm excited.
Yeah.
This was really good.
I mean, how cool would that be, right? You're, like, back, like, oh, it's Miles Morales. I remember him from the first flick. And then 2099 comes in. And then you're back to, like, jumping through the universes. And you're following this guy around. Miles Morales is maybe going with him. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
So, yeah, I mean, really cool. We enjoyed the movie. 5 out of 7 best animated film I've seen in a while.
Yeah. I don't even know if I could... I want to say 7 out of 7. I haven't seen a whole lot of animated films.
Perfect 5 out of 7.
Perfect 5 out of 7. It was good.
7 out of 7, I guess, if I were to actually care.
Whatever
about
100% is.
Yeah, really good. Thumbs up.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so that's our thoughts on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and that does it for us on this episode of the Clever and Original Podcast. Jay, if people wanted to find you on the social media sphere, where could they do that?
If you want to come find me and tell me to stop coughing, come find me on Twitter at Jayden Reinhart.
And you can find me at Kayley Misialek. That's Kaymisialek Misialek. At Kayley Misialek on Twitter.
You can find JJ Larson at JLarson107.
You're right. And you can find us all at Clever_Original on Twitter. And as you are right now, listen to us each and every week on SoundCloud, iTunes, and other podcast services. And we'll catch you next week on episode 177.
Yeah.